Guys, I'm about to drop something on you, and I'm not sure you're ready for it. Because, there's been a lot of shows at this station who have been disparaging one of baseball's all-time greats. I know Patrick Creighton does it on late hits all the time. I know Jer Bear Branham does it every single day. What's wrong with Dusty's lineup on X? I know John Granado, Lance Zierlein of the bench. They've resorted to saying that baseball's national treasure, Dusty Baker, flips a coin when it comes to putting lineups out. And, we've talked about these Astros team meetings. Martin Maldonado holds one. Veterans hold another. Justin Verlander had one on Tuesday night. But who's been the leader all the way through? Who's been the guy that's been the absolute rock for an Astros team who's been through a lot? I'm, of course, talking about Dusty Baker. And I think he should be Manager of the Year. Am I saying this perhaps because I'm so annoyed by the amount of people that whine about Dusty every single day? Am I trying to troll them? Maybe. But I feel like I can actually make a pretty good argument in favor of Dusty Baker for Manager of the Year while flicking off these whiny little babies. Because the correct take on Dusty Baker should be this. Until something goes wrong in the playoffs, just let's play it out. Baseball, for a lot of those people who think I don't know a damn thing about it, did you know it's a marathon and not a sprint? Huh? But there was something that Dusty Baker did last night that people aren't going to talk about. They're going to focus on Yainer Diaz not being in the lineup until last night. They're going to focus on Chas McCormick not playing and Jake Myers playing instead. But how about this move of brilliance by Dusty Baker? Hunter Brown was asked after the game if he knew he was in the midst of a no-hitter by Astros beat reporters and whether or not he was upset that he was pulled from the game early. Here's what he said.
No, I don't think so.
So did you know you had a no-hitter?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I knew that there was less base runners than there has been, but, mixed a couple walks in there, so still some things to clean up on that front, but, yeah, I mean, obviously I was pulling for it.
Dusty Baker pulling Hunter Brown 78 pitches into a no-hitter is genius. Yeah, you heard me right. It's genius. Not an ounce of sarcasm in my voice right now. Did you see what Dusty Baker said about it after the game? He wants Hunter Brown to have confidence moving forward. Do any of us believe that Hunter Brown, who apparently is nicknamed Diesel, was going to throw a no-hitter? Especially because he had a couple of command issues over the course of last night's game. The answer is no. What else did Dusty Baker do last night that's not going to get credit? He brought Rafael Montero out of the bullpen first in the midst of this no-hitter. Got to show Rafael Montero you believe in him too. Also, think about this. Would Yainer Diaz have known how to handle catching an almost combined no-hitter without watching Martin Maldonado catch one a little over a month ago? I don't think so. Yainer Diaz is learning by watching. A lot of you people feel like that's not possible. Chas McCormick? Oh, why wasn't he playing over Jake Myers? He got his pudding day. He got his day off. And guess what? Since Jake Myers played, you keep him from being rusty on the off chance the Astros training staff accidentally injures Chas McCormick, which we all know is a possibility. Dusty Baker has led the Houston Astros through injuries to Yordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, without Michael Brantley for much of the year. Shaky starting pitching. Justin Verlander isn't Justin Verlander right now. Framber Valdez hasn't really been Framber Valdez. Christian Javier isn't Christian Javier. Hunter Brown hasn't had a good start in months until last night against a minor league baseball club. All these new contracts given out to players that Dusty Baker has to find a way to make work in his lineup. Jose Abreu, Javier, as we mentioned before, Rafael Montero, Michael Brantley doesn't even play. Wow. Done a pretty damn good job thus far, huh? Think about all the depth the Astros have. Dusty Baker's got to juggle that. There's so many outfielders right now, like Corey Julks. Well, maybe not Corey Julks. Jake Myers, not Jake Myers. Chas McCormick, Mauricio Dubon, Michael Brantley, Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, if you put Yordan Alvarez in the field. Huh. Wow. That's hard to do. And the Astros lead a now competitive AL West. It's the second most competitive division in baseball. It's incredible. And you know what? All of that is a reason that Dusty Baker should win Manager of the Year. And am I trolling a bit? Am I making fun of some of the people who whine about Dusty's lineups every single day? Yeah, I am. Those people have gotten so damn annoying. They really have. I get it. You'd like to see McCormick play more. You'd also like to see Yainer Diaz play more. We get it. Cool. Your point has been established. How about we see if it comes to bite them in the tuchus come playoff time, huh? Can we wait? And until then, Dusty Baker, American League Manager of the Year. Boom. I'm bold. I'm bold enough to kill the Rangers. I'm bold enough to give Dusty Baker Manager of the Year. What are you? What are you doing today? What are you doing with your life? What is it that you haven't been able to do because you've been too nervous to do it? I know I'm an inspiration, and I hope that you take what I just did, boom, boom, those 2 punches in mind for the rest of your day and do all the things that you need to do. It is the most interactive sports talk show in Houston. Someone did text in on the HRNP listener line, 713-780-3776, in response to my last segment where I laid out a very clear and coherent argument as to why Dusty Baker should be American League Manager of the Year. I want to punch Paul in the nuts. Well, that's why I wear a cup every single day. Just kidding. I've never worn a cup. Probably should have one time during high school football. One time while trying to make a tackle, I got kneed, then stepped on. It was kind of weird to see everything bruised. It was alarming. Just a little bit. Took a while to go away. Anyway, we have some more comments here on the Twitch as well, twitch.tv/ESPN 97.5. Infinity Beard says Diaz plays, and it's the only game where the pitchers look good and the offense look good. Coincidence? Question mark? Heck no. No, it's a coincidence. It is legitimately a coincidence. I know we all want to see more Yainer Diaz. I get it, but I think it's a coincidence. And I don't know if Yainer Diaz would have been able to catch a no-hitter without seeing how Martin Maldonado catches a no-hitter. You learn by watching others sometimes, just as the same way you learn throughout your own experiences out there, right? It's a little thing that we like to call sitting back and observing in life. You guys should try it sometime. 713-780-3776 is to text. Hey, Paul, it is a nice thing you were doing to name Dusty Baker Manager of the Year. Astros fans criticized Dusty because Astros fans never really wanted a black man managing the Astros. Astros fans are still angry that the baseball commissioner replaced the cheating Astros previous manager with Dusty. Well, I don't think that baseball hired Dusty Baker to the Astros. I don't think that happened. But I do think there's an element of race that's involved here. It's funny we forget that A.J. Hinch blew it in 2015 by leaving Will Harrison too long and blew it again in 2019 by leaving Will Harrison too long. We forget about that. And the grass is always greener with another manager. But I do find it interesting the amount of criticism that Dusty gets. I don't know if it's racism. I truly don't. I know that some are maybe sensitive to the idea that it might be, but whatever it is, it's annoying. I saw this tweet from PC, Patrick Creighton, last night. Okay, Astros fans, what is bothering you the most about your team? A, manager misuse of Diaz and Chas. That got 52% of the vote. B, 28.2% of the vote. Starting pitching woes. C, bullpen use, 0.9% for that. Damn media, 18.8%. But here is something true. I think for the most part, the average Astros fan who is likely casual, probably like me, doesn't want to hear you dumping on the team every single night unless there's a reason to actually dump on the team. And I really don't think there's going to be a reason to dump on the team unless there's an early playoff exit or they end up stuck with the wild card. So, again, you got to let this stuff play out, and I get it. There's frustration with Dusty Baker. There was frustration with Dusty Baker last year. Things worked out great in the playoffs. He did a great job. Everyone hated, but he did great in the playoffs. So, things to keep in mind, just going forward. We don't all know the answers. We don't all know where this is going. We could be frustrated, I guess, but I just think there is too much whining and crying from people in my field. And I guess I'm being that guy, the zagger, but I'm zagging here.
How much of this do you think it's because not only like there might be some race element to it. There might just be some element of, well, AJ Hinch was kind of our guy, and this because he kind of came up with the team, whereas Dusty Baker's kind of just
it could be that
he's viewed as just like the replacement manager because AJ Hinch got fired. I also think some of it though is that the Rockets and the Texans aren't good, and we need something to talk like for sports, like for literally sports radio hosts, and for sports radio hosts to tweet during Astros
fair.
games. I think some of it is just that they don't have James Harden flameouts to talk about in May.
But guess what? This isn't the Northeast. This is something, as someone who grew up in the Northeast and used to love all that stuff, like my favorite radio show ever, they bitch and moan about the Patriots, and they're getting 25 shares, which is insane for any radio, let alone sports radio. Like, it's my favorite show. I still listen to it. I get a kick out of it. It keeps me level-headed. But that's not for any other cities outside of the Northeast. You don't want to hear someone yelling. You don't want to hear someone angry. You want to hear someone having fun. That's how this is supposed to go. It's supposed to be an escape. And I like to think that this show is pretty good at that. And I feel like we got to be consistent with it. And if everybody's whining about it, it's like, my God, like, be grateful a little bit here, right?
Team's winning the AL West.
Yeah, they're winning the AL West, and they have overcome a lot this year. The starting pitching has stunk. The lineup has gone through some issues as well.
Jordan and Altuve have been out for stretches at the same time for some parts of it.
And I don't think Dusty's going to win AL Manager of the Year, but screw it. I'd vote for him because I'm so sick of everybody complaining about him all the time. I just saw a video from a couple of days ago, and this video was of Dusty Baker getting into a fight when one of his players, as a first base coach, was down on the ground. I don't know who it was. The Cardinals were playing the team, and he was the first base coach in this game. He's the first guy in there. Ask yourself this question. Who do you think Astros players like more, AJ Hinch or Dusty Baker? Who's more affable? Who's cooler? It's Dusty. It's not even close. So that's something else to factor in here. They all like Martin Maldonado. I get it. You want to see Morian or Diaz? Don't send those messages to Maldonado. It's ridiculous that you're doing that. Have a little respect for the guy. You won a World Series with you. I can understand being annoyed, but keep it somewhat to yourself. Don't be a dick to the actual human. And yeah, I don't know. There's a little bit too much entitlement right now. And this is coming from maybe the most entitled sports fan of all time, who many would argue is just a bandwagon jumping slut. It's fine. I'm cool with that label. I don't mind. I am what I am. I've accepted it. Okay? Anyway, guys, I know I'm a little bit defensive when it comes to anyone talking trash about the Astros in the same way I am about anybody who talks trash about the Patriots, especially when it involves cheating. Now, the best thing to do when anyone does this is to just say, we got away with it, suck it. But at the same time, every now and then someone talks and you're like, why are you talking? So, Baker Mayfield on his, fourth team in 4 years? Fifth team in 5 years? I'm not sure. NFL journeyman Baker Mayfield apparently cracked the code of the Minnesota Vikings during Sunday's Buccaneers-Vikings game. And in another episode of Keeping That Same Energy, you're going to hear him do something that I find to be very annoying. Well,
have you even slightly insulted the Houston Astros today?
If you don't know the facts, then you got to shut the
We'll hunt you down, mother.
They asked for Houston. They got Houston.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We're keeping that same energy.
Now witness the firepower of this battle station.
You may fire when ready.
Alvarez, it's out high drive, center field. Beerling's back. This game is turned upside down.
Baker Mayfield, while talking about cracking that Vikings code, here he is at a press conference yesterday with a mini drive-by on your beloved Houston Astros.
Rashad White credited you for picking up on the Vikings' defensive play signals. Is that something that you've had a knack for in your career of being able to do, or is it something that was new to that game?
When it comes down to that, you're always trying to find tendencies of defense, just those in-game adjustments that you're trying to trying to find those tendencies. And, sometimes it's a little different than others, but that was why, like I said, at post game, it was a chess match there in the first half. We kind of had some stall out drives. They did a very, very good job. I mean, I can't credit Brian Flores enough for how they were schemed up against us. So, it took us a little bit to adjust, but you try and find every advantage possible to win.
How much did that help, do you think?
Quite a bit.
I mean, you keep doing that, you're going to have some folks from the government, pulling you into one of those dark vans, the guys in the suits and trying to get a job.
I know I'm in Tampa, but I'm a Texas Rangers fan, not a Houston Astros fan, so we're not going to condone that. Yeah.
Shut up! How dare those in a market that is trying to have its baseball team leave, how dare they laugh at that? Baker Mayfield, as a Texas Rangers fan, do I believe him? I don't know. I do believe that Baker Mayfield got caught once while trying to run away from the cops. I do believe that. I do believe that he was a massive failure with the Cleveland Browns. I believe all of those things. Also with the Carolina Panthers. Less so with the Rams. He actually wasn't bad with the Rams, amazingly.
It's because the expectations were, at that point, at his ankles, and he was able to step over it. Listen, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come to Houston November 5th, probably 3 weeks after Baker Mayfield gets demoted as Tampa Bay's starting quarterback. So he'll be on the sideline, sitting with the clipboard in his hand. I say, Houston fans, make his life miserable.
Yeah! But don't send me direct messages.
No, well...
Wait, hang on. Are we doing the same thing that all the other shows at ESPN 97.5 are doing when it comes to Dusty Baker?
But Dusty Baker's one of our guys.
Baker's one of our guys? Martin Maldonado's another one of our guys?
Dusty Baker's one of our guys. Baker Mayfield isn't.
No, we hate Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield is an enemy. And
he slung an arrow at us, sling him right back. Dude sucks.
Classic Sooners. Am I right, folks?